Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Go Premanande Hari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto. What happened to that? Canto 7, Chapter 3. Today's text is text number 28.
We covered 25.
No, don't tell me that. According to our law book, we can do 25, but so we start at 25. No. Sorry, Charaka, what are you saying?
Yesterday, as far as I am aware, there was no class. We were scheduled to do 25 and 27 through 27, 25, 26, 27. I don't think that happened unless it happened in the temple room and there was no Zoom broadcast.
I heard you reciting the Brahma Samhita prayers.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to pay more attention to the Srimad Bhagavatam class then. That's what needs to happen. Because, of course, Krishna Surya Prabhu manages the program, but he lives in California, so I guess it's difficult for him. Okay, so we'll read 25, 26, 27, and I'll try to take some bits and pieces of 28 and not deprive the person who's supposed to do 28 tomorrow. Or we can actually do all of them because then the sequence doesn't get messed up. Let's try and see what happens. 7.3.25. Utaya pranjali prava iksamano drisa vibhum harsasru pulakod bedho gira gat gadaya grinat utaya pranjali prabha iksmano drisa vibhum harsasru pulakod bedho gira gada gadaya grinat utaya pranjali prabha iksamano drisa vibhum harsasru pulakod bedho gira gadaya grinat. Okay, please somebody recite the verse again.
Taya Ranjari Prabha Shabado Vishavibun the Harsha Shuru Bhagavad Hare Krishna. Harsha Shuru Purato Bedo Gira Gad Ya Grin
Not.
Gira Gad Gadaya Grinat.
Yes. Okay. Word for word, Utaya, getting up. Pranjali, with folded hands. Prabha, in a humble manner. Iksamanaha, seeing. Drisa, with his eyes. Vibhum, the supreme person within this universe. Harsha, of jubilation. Ashru, with tears. Pulaka, with hairs standing on the body. Ubhedha, Udbedha, enlivened. Gira, by words. Gad Gadaya, faltering. Agrinat, prayed. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Then getting up from the ground and seeing Lord Brahma before him, the head of the Daityas was overwhelmed with jubilation. With tears in his eyes, his whole body quivering, he began praying in a humble mood, with folded hands and a faltering voice, to satisfy Lord Brahma. Did Bhagavatam class happen yesterday? Any ideas? No? No idea. Yeah. So text 26, 27, translation, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the personality, a supreme Lord within this universe. At the end of each day of his life, the universe is fully covered with dense darkness by the influence of time. And then again, during his next day, that effulgent Lord, by his own effulgence, manifests, maintains, and destroys the entire cosmic manifestation through the material energy, which is invested with the three modes of material nature. He, Lord Brahma, is the shelter of those modes of nature, Sattvagun, Rajagun, and Tamagun. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The words Abhivyanag Jagat Idam refer to He who creates the cosmic manifestation. The original creator is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Janmadi Asya Yata. Lord Brahma is the secondary creator. When Lord Brahma is empowered by Lord Krishna as the engineer to create the phenomenal world, he becomes the supremely powerful feature within this universe. The total material energy is created by Krishna, and later, taking advantage of all that has necessarily been created, Lord Brahma engineers the entire phenomenal universe. At the end of Lord Brahma's day, everything up to Swargaloka is inundated with water. Excuse me. And the next morning, when there is darkness in the universe, Brahma again brings this phenomenal manifestation into existence. Therefore, he is described here as he who manifests this universe. Trin Gunan Vrinoti. Lord Brahma takes advantage of three modes of material nature. Prakriti, material nature, is described here as Trivrita, the source of the three material modes. Srila Madhvacharya comments in this connection that Trivrita means Prakritya. Thus, Lord Krishna is the original creator and Lord Brahma is the original engineer. Om Gyana Timarandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmitam Yana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Panchakalpatrubhyascha kripa sindhureva cha patitanam pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasti Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, of course, we in this chapter now where Lord Brahma, Hiranyakashipu has received the benediction of the audience of Lord Brahma, and he is, of course, very overwhelmed, elated about the appearance of Lord Brahma to fulfill all of his desires, because he had been performing austerities for such a long period of time. I wanted to quickly post something. So we are all familiar with the structure of the universe and how things work. As far as the structure is concerned, I'll just post it in the connections group. And so we can review it from there. I don't know how to do my screen sharing yet. I still have to learn that one. So we understand that there's Swayam Bhagavan Krishna, and he is residing in Goloka Vrindavan. If we can look at, everybody's got that structure of the universe picture that I sent. Yes? Dwarka Dham, Ayodhya Dham. Then there's the first quadruple expansion that occurs. Vasudev, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, Shankarshan. Just above that, Ayodhya Dham. So, this is all spiritual world. Then just below that is, of course, all the Vaikuntha planets, Vaikuntha Loka, all the Narayan expansions existing there. And that's where the second quadruple expansion occurs. Then below that, Kailash, where Sadashiva resides. Then there's the description given of Brahma Jyoti, Krishna's effulgence. And then we get to the Karuna ocean. And of course, the Viraj River, causal ocean, is in that space. So then comes the expansion of Karuna Mahavishnu, and then we get to the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, feature of the expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we understand from the Bhagavatam, let me find these verses quickly, about how Lord Brahma came into existence. So the third canto, I'll read a few verses here, 8th chapter, and it's entitled Manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So I'll read a few verses, starting with chapter 13. The subtle subject matter of creation on which the Lord's attention was fixed was agitated by the material mode of passion, and thus the subtle form of creation pierced through his abdomen. So this is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Piercing through the sum total form of the fruitive activity of the living entities took the shape of the bud of a lotus flower generated from the personality of Vishnu. And by his supreme will, it illuminated everything like the sun and dried up the vast waters of devastation. Text 15. In that universal lotus flower, Lord Vishnu personally entered as the supersoul. And when it was thus impregnated with all the modes of material nature, the personality of Vedic wisdom, whom we call the self-born, was generated. So Prabhupada in the purport is describing here this process. The lotus flower is the universal Virat form, or the gigantic form of the Lord in the material world. It becomes amalgamated in the personality of Godhead Vishnu, in his abdomen, at the time of dissolution, and it becomes manifest at the time of creation. This is due to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who enters into each of the universes. In this form of the sum total of all the fruitive activities of the living entities conditioned by material nature, and the first of them, namely Brahma, or the controller of the universe, is generated from this lotus flower. The first-born living being, unlike all others, has no material father, and thus he is called self-born or Swayambhu. He goes to sleep with Narayan at the time of devastation, and when there is another creation, he is born in this way. From this description, we have the conception of three: the gross Virat form, the subtle Hiranyagarbha, and the material force, creative force, Brahma. Text 16. Brahma, born out of the lotus flower, could not see the world, although he was situated in the world. He therefore circumambulated all of space, and while moving his eyes in all directions, he achieved 4 heads in terms of the 4 directions. So this is how our Lord Brahma in this particular universe had got his 4 heads. Text 17. Lord Brahma, situated in that lotus, could not perfectly understand the creation, the lotus, or himself. At the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move, and the water and the lotus, at the end of the millennium, the air of devastation began to move the water and the lotus in great circular waves. So purport, Lord Brahma was perplexed about his creation, the lotus and the world, even though he tried to understand them for 1 millennium, which is beyond calculation in solar years of human things. No one, therefore, can know the mystery of the creation and cosmic manifestation simply by mental speculation. The human being is so limited in his capacity that without the help of the Supreme, he can hardly understand the mystery of the will of the Lord in terms of creation, continuance, and destruction. Text 18. Lord Brahma in his ignorance contemplated, who am I that is situated on the top of this lotus? Wherefrom has it sprouted? There must be something downwards, and that from which the lotus has grown must be within the water. Purport. The subject matter of speculations of Brahma in the beginning regarding the creation of the cosmic manifestation is still subject matter for mental speculators. The most intelligent man is he who tries to find the cause of his personal existence and that of the whole cosmic creation, and thus tries to find the ultimate cause. If his attempt is properly executed with penance and perseverance, it is sure to be crowned with success. Lord Brahma, thus contemplating, entered the water through the channel of the stem of the lotus. But in spite of entering the stem and going nearer to the navel of Vishnu, he could not trace out the route. So in this purport, Prabhupada brings in the subject matter of devotional service. By dint of one's personal endeavor, one may go nearer to the Lord, similar to how Lord Brahma did. But without the Lord's mercy, one cannot reach the ultimate point. Such understanding of the Lord is possible only by devotional service, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:55. Bhaktya mam abhijanati, yavan yas shasmai tatvataha, tato mam tatvato jnanatva, visate tat anantaram. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is the process given in the revealed scriptures. And as Prabhupada is mentioning in this one purport, that, just similar to initially how Lord Brahma started to speculate, where did he come from? And, he was trying to figure it out. There are still mental speculators on that platform continuously trying to speculate where the living entity comes from. But rather than wasting so much of valuable time, we can consult the scriptures. And if we consult the scriptures, we find that we are all part and parcels of Krishna, very, very minute in quantity, but in quality exactly the same. And rather than continuing to speculate how to enjoy this material creation, or trying to enjoy this material creation, we should make a plan how to go back home, back to Godhead. And Prabhupada is confirming in so many places, Bhagavatam confirms in so many places, that the best way is by performing devotional service. So we all understand this process of devotional service, that it is not an ordinary thing. There might be, for example, a person washing dishes in McDonald's or any restaurant for that matter. And there is a person who is washing dishes at the temple. And we understand, of course, that the person washing dishes at the temple is performing devotional service. So, we have so many nice helpers that come and help us here on the farm, particularly. And somehow, by some great fortune, they've come into the association of devotees, even though it may seem that, they're just doing some mundane work. But ultimately, we understand from the scripture that, all of these persons that come and, do work on the farm in whatever form or shape, is performing devotional service to the Lord. And so, we need to have such great respect for all these personalities who are sometimes unknowingly doing devotional service. And, what to speak of those persons knowingly doing devotional service. So we see in this part of the Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu will start to recite so many wonderful prayers to Lord Brahma, and it'll all culminate in the point where he makes this request from Lord Brahma to technically, according to his understanding, become immortal. And of course, Lord Brahma, being pleased by Hiranyakashipu's severe austerities. We read a few days ago, how the other living entities had eaten practically all of his body up, and only his bones was existing, and his life airs was circulating amongst his bones. And in this way, he was continuing his severe penance to please Lord Brahma. Excuse me. So we should not be so ignorant to not understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As we read all these verses from the third canto, confirming that Lord Brahma is the creator within the material world. And in terms of the structure of the universe, is coming from the abdomen of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. What else? So we see Lord Brahma, Prabhupada is confirming in the purport there. Trin Gunan Vrinoti. Lord Brahma takes advantage of the three modes of material nature. Prakriti, material nature, is described here as Trivrita, the source of the three material modes. Srila Madhvacharya comments in this connection that Trivrita means Prakritya. Thus, Lord Krishna is the original creator, and Lord Brahma is the original engineer of the universe. So this is what we need to understand. Of course, someone recited the Bhagavatam class the last few days of the pastime of Lord Brahma kidnapping the calves and the cowherd boys. And the lesson he had learned from that experience, that there is someone more powerful, someone more greater than he himself. Okay, then that's all I have for this verse today. I had made some preparations for 28, but let's leave that for tomorrow's class. Okay, please, devotees, share some thoughts, realizations on Lord Brahma. Taraka Prabhu was yesterday very nicely reciting prayers from the Brahma Samhita. About the extensive prayers that Lord Brahma makes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We know everything about Lord Brahma. Today is the appearance day of Virabhadra. So maybe we can read a little bit about the appearance day of of Veerabhadra Prabhu. Okay, who was Veerabhadra? Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for class. I have I guess a basic question. When looking at the visual illustration that you shared on Gita Nagari connections, are we then to understand that this is the way that the universe is laid out? Or is this the way that, that's my question.
Yes, yes. This is, of course, the scientists, they explained the Big Bang theory, and this is how the universe was created. But this is the Vedic understanding of the structure of the universe. And, of course, so many places in the Vedic scriptures, different descriptions are given in terms of different parts of how the universe is structured. But when you put it all together, I forget which one of our scientists put this together, but this is how the universe is structured. And if you read the different Vedic literatures, I think it all reconciles very, very nicely with this understanding of how the universe is structured. Because, for example, I think even Kailash, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there is one portion of Kailash which exists in the spiritual world. And then, of course, we understand there's, Mount Kailash currently existing in the material world. So how to, reconcile all of these things? And so this depiction very, very nicely reconciles, the material worlds and the spiritual worlds. How the Vaikuntha planets is connected. So we understand, for example, Vaikuntha is spiritual world. Still, as devotees, we don't even want to go to the Vaikuntha planets. We don't want to go to, Lord Narayan's abode. As devotees, we want to go back home, back to Godhead, back to Golok Vrindavan, and there is relationship with the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Of course, Krishna, we understand in Golok Vrindavan, is just a cowherd boy. So this depiction of Lakshmi, Narayan, awe and reverence, worship of Lord Narayan is also going on in Vaikuntha. And it is still the spiritual world. So this depiction very, very nicely reconciles, where exactly is Mahalakshmi, is she in the Golok Vrindavan, for example. So, in this depiction, you can see, Mahalakshmi doesn't exist in Golok Vrindavan. Because there's so much of awe and reverence. It has to be in Vaikuntha, for example. So then, of course, there's the Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. And, of course, so many impersonalists aspire to merge with the Brahmajyoti. So we understand from the Bhagavatam again, why this is not such a good idea. And, there's so many nice examples given of, impersonalists. Like even, we'll read a little bit tomorrow, I think, about the four Kumaras. They were initially impersonalists, until the point where they smelled the tulsi leaves, I think it was. So our understanding is that, if you have an aspiration to merge with the Brahma Jyoti, for example, it can happen that you can, become so-called one and merge. But there's no activity, for example, in the Brahma Jyoti. And so, the living entity is just floating around. But at some point in time, that living entity will again fall into the material pool. And from this depiction, we can see it very nicely how that can happen. From the Brahma Jyoti, one can easily fall down again into the material pool. So this, cycle of repeated birth and death can just continue until the point where we understand who we are, what is our position in relation to Krishna, eternal servants, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And again, tomorrow, someone will touch on the point that Lord Brahma, at least our four-headed Lord Brahma, was thinking, he is the next in charge at some point, after the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prabhupada gives in that purport for tomorrow's class that even at some point when Lord Brahma had gone, our four-headed Lord Brahma had gone to visit Krishna. That pastime is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and over there, Lord Krishna asks, the servant, which Lord Brahma is it? And so Lord Brahma at the door, he heard, which Brahma? And so when he came, he had to ask, what do you mean, which Lord Brahma? I thought I'm the only Lord Brahma. And then, you'll hear more about that pastime. So in charge of this one universe, we understand from the pause of Mahavishnu, as he's breathing in, breathing out, so many universes are being created. And that's, again, depicted here. That as Lord Vishnu is breathing in and out, so many universes are being created. And when he breathes in, there's total dissolution of the universe again at the same time. So there's different agents. We understand there's Lord Shiva. He is in charge of destruction of the universe at the time of annihilation when that's required. That means when Lord Vishnu is breathing in, and in this way, this creation, annihilation is going on. Of course, when you bring into the time factor, then, this whole discussion is there about, Hari Chakra was touching on Sunday's class about, how long one day of Lord Brahma is. And then he lives for 100 years, what the actual duration according to our human calculation is. So it's long, long periods of times to the point where, Lord Brahma's 100 years is so long in duration that, he's practically considered to some degree, immortal, that he doesn't even die. Only because, of course, the time calculation is so vast, it's beyond our comprehension. But, here in these verses, we are reading that, no, Lord Brahma is not the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he is, part of the entire system, but in charge of, as an engineer, in charge of creating within this material one universe. So we should save this diagrammatic representation of the world or planetary systems and how they all reconcile. So I think the attempt with building the Vedic planetarium in Mayapur is an attempt to also, show the scientists the structure of the universe as depicted by the Vedic literature. So Prabhupada, really wanted some nice depiction. Otherwise, this Big Bang theory is complete bogus.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Bye. Anyone else has anything to add?
Mention that today is the anniversary of the appearance of the Virabhadra.
Right.
So there are two Virabhadras. One is the demon created by Lord Shiva that ripped off or cut off the head of Daksha. But what this is today is not associated with that Virabhadra. The Virabhadra with appearance days today is the son of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda had two wives. They were Janava Devi and Vasudha, and they were actually sisters. So Virabhadra was the son of Lord Nityananda and Vasudha. In the Gauraganodesh Deepika, it is said that Virachandra is an incarnation of Shirodakshai Vishnu. So Shirodakshai Vishnu is that Vishnu who is lying in the ocean of milk on Sveitadvip, which is Dhruvaloka, the pole star, which you can actually see if you look into the sky. And Shirodakshai Vishnu is also the Vishnu who manifests within the heart of all living entities. So although he is divine in nature, he is Vishnu Tattva, Virabhadra outwardly adopts the role of a devotee, a great devotee, and he strictly adheres to Vedic practices. So, like Lord Chaitanya, he appears to simply be a devotee. He plays that role. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 11th chapter of Adi Lila, Lord Chaitanya refers to Virabhadra as the greatest branch after Lord Nityananda, and with innumerable sub-branches. He is regarded as a main pillar in the hall of devotional service that was erected by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is particularly of significance to us because it is said that it is actually by his mercy that people everywhere now have the opportunity to chant the holy names of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. So you can find a little bit about him in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, or if you have Guru Ganesh Deepika, there is mention of him there also. So we all are all indebted to him, all recipients of his mercy, and he has made it possible for us to have the opportunity for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and to take up the process of Krishna consciousness.
Okay, we're ready to do Guru Puja. Thank you, Taraka Prabhu, for sharing those thoughts. So today we can pray to for Virabhadra Prabhu's blessings to deepen our connection in Krishna consciousness, particularly, of course, in chanting the holy names of the Lord. So we can pray to Virabhadra Prabhu for that. Okay, Guru Puja. Yeah.